and you realize, hey, we can get the area underneath that little integral calculus action going on, and they get a slope, and voila, you have ideal CT.
Yeah,
Boom.
and
just like that. Welcome back, everyone, to the Hot Mix, an InstroTek podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Maurice.
And today we are bringing you one of our most special episodes. A living legend is coming to visit us today.
Absolutely, Anthony. I'm so excited for this. This has been in the works for a little while now. And now that it's here, man, I just can't say myself.
I got the goosies, man. I got the goosies.
So this person has been in the industry for quite a while. He's known. He's one of the most popular people that I know in the industry because he's done so much for the industry. He has worked at Asphalt Institute, Coke Materials, and now he runs his own company in Kentucky. We welcome to the show for the first time, Phil Blankenship.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hey,
What's up?
well,
See you all.
What's going on?
So good to have you, brother.
Man, this is awesome. This is so awesome, Phil. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being here. I know you took a lot of scheduling. I mean, you're a busy guy. We know, we see on social. So for you to be here is just an honor.
Oh, and it's awesome. One of my favorite companies, and getting to come down here and visit InstroTek, and hadn't seen the new facility.
Yeah.
Hey, even have the great mug to drink from.
Sure do. Let me just flip this around because I had that the wrong way, but now we're in there.
No, you're good. So yeah, so we're really happy to have you again, Phil. I mean, he's done so much and been such a big part of this industry. And if you're into asphalt, then you've seen Phil's name somewhere along the line, or presenting at some conference. So we are going to just talk a little bit about what he's doing now, a little BMD, right? Because that's a big topic. And then a little BMD, and then just have a good time with Phil. So let's get started.
Well, I think it's important when we're talking about personal. You know, I think personal and sports come into play. You're a Kentucky guy.
Kentucky.
All the way.
True
blue blood.
Graduated from Kentucky, got the ring.
There you go. Well, I think it's important then that I ask you, at what point did you realize that you love asphalt just a little bit more than you do UK sports?
Wow, that's a tough one, because I went to grad school so I could go to the basketball games, right?
There you go.
But I was going to be a structural engineer. I was working on bridges. I was having a good time walking high steel, inspecting concrete. If I'm going to be careful of that word, and inspecting the concrete. And next thing you know, I have an opportunity to do this. To go out and do some intern work with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and then this came along at Asphalt Institute to do internship, and next thing you know, it's sticking to me.
Yeah, I like that. I see what you did there. He's good.
Yeah, that's awesome, Phil. Yeah, no, and the industry is absolutely thrilled to have you because of all the work you've put in. Now, this is actually Phil's bio here, and I just didn't have time to read through all this. And believe it or not, there's actually equations in his bio. That's how much there is in here. And who has equations in their bios? But Phil does, because he's done so much. So Phil, you're an amazing engineer. You've been through so much. You were part of Superpave. You came through that whole thing. Again, you did some work with end design. One of my questions, being such a great engineer and doing so much, is what's your favorite equation?
Oh, favorite equation.
Yes, what's your favorite engineering equation? Which one speaks to you?
Well, 1 + 1 = 2.
Is that the easiest
is
one?
where I start.
Okay.
Yeah, but when it really gets into, I think probably the one that's had the most impact is really what we're doing off of Ideal CT.
Awesome.
And hats off to Fuji. He goes in there and revamps this thing, brings it back alive from Texas A&M. And TTI, and here comes a simple curve that all these guys see, and you put a little engineering to it, and you realize, hey, we can get the area underneath that little integral calculus action going on, and they get a slope, and voila, you have ideal CT.
Yeah, and
just like that.
I'm sure it's happening just like that. Ask Fuji. I'm sure there's no testing involved. Just
fatigue's my second favorite.
Fatigue. Beam fatigue.
Beam fatigue. Yeah.
There's a lot of great engineers in this industry, and that's what makes it great, right? There's a lot of minds that come together to make this stuff happen. It just doesn't happen by one person, but a group of people that support them, and we love that, and we know them all. So that's the great part. You also are very attainable. You can talk to them and ask them, hey, how do we get here? So that's kind of what we're doing now.
That's why I kind of wanted to segue now into. Let's get into the fundamentals of it.
Okay, yeah.
BMD. So I think
let's do it.
Yeah, I think Maurice wanted to kind of cue that up and just talk about what we're looking for, and to give the audience about.
So Anthony's right. One of the things that we talk about a lot is BMD, but there's a lot of new people coming into the industry that may not even know what BMD is. So fundamentally, just explain to our audience what is BMD? Like fundamentally, what is it trying to do? What is it? Why are we doing it?
Yeah, you know, when we use so many acronyms, and like if I get a new employee in there, we're talking about PG, BMD,
Right.
SSD, and you know, what are all these things? Well, first off, balanced mix design.
Yes.
And as a friend of mine who's an engineer said, oh, it's end result testing, it's performance engineering, and no different than in the concrete world where they test cylinders to look at a break strength. We haven't done really end result testing to the extent where we're at. So it's a simple way to look at the channeling or rutting that could happen in a roadway, and then look at the cracking that could happen in the roadway, and try to. The reason we call it balanced is if I go too far one way, I'll rut. If I go too far the other way, I'll crack. Now, there's a lot more to it, but in the simple term, we're just balancing rutting and cracking. So balanced mix design.
And why are we doing it now? I guess is why have we not done this in the '60s or the?
We tried.
You know, we tried. Okay.
We tried. Well, okay. First, if I had been in the '60s, I wouldn't remember it.
You'd be a little old.
But I was born '69. Okay.
Okay.
So
Year.
yeah, great year. You know, and the moon landing and everything right after that. Right.
Great year.
So here we are, and when I came through Superpave, there were 3 levels that happened. Superpave level 1 was volumetrics.
Right.
Superpave level 2 added on this thing called the indirect strength, where we looked at creep and compliance. It already sounds complicated, doesn't it?
Right.
And then they had the Superpave shear tester.
Okay.
The SST, where you measured shear modulus and rutting through shear flow, and that was shear exhaustion is what it was. and then you had level 3, right?
Yeah.
Which was that plus more testing.
Yeah.
And everybody had this idea, and then these items go to the DOTs, and they said, we're going to deliver these items.
Yeah.
Only a couple of states got them, and who's going to run them? How are we going to do it? We don't have room for this stuff.
Gotcha.
And so everybody hit the pause button. They said, you know, the Superpave gyratory level 1 fixed our biggest issues. It fixed the rutting problem. Cracking was not as bad of an issue in most areas. So it fixed that problem. So we just sort of stuck with it.
Yeah.
Now at the same time, RAP comes online. Materials are always changing.
Which is recycled asphalt.
Oh, another acronym.
Yeah. Just trying
Recycled or
keep it
reclaimed
simple.
asphalt pavement.
Right.
So it comes online. Superpave wasn't built for that. Polymers were, you know, also trying to get into this piece of it. They'd been around, just now getting included into to all this. So all of this is happening at once.
Right.
And as soon as you create something, you got to start tweaking it. And that's just what happens in life, right?
Yeah.
And go to a website. You know, a website's always changing. Well, Superpave, we weren't ready to change it so fast. So here it comes. And we're pretty good. And then folks start noticing late 2000s, 2010, hey, we've got cracking.
Right.
And we're going to have to, what are we going to do? And it gets more and more. An example, you know, in some of these states, you've heard stories like the materials guys get called in and they say, fix our cracking problem.
Right.
NCAT went out and did a survey, and I think it was like 2012, 2015, something like that. And when and it was through one of the NCHRP studies, National Cooperative Highway Research Program. And when they got out there and found out that it's reflective cracking, but transverse cracking, longitudinal cracking, block cracking, all this cracking's happening.
Absolutely.
And then down at the bottom's rutting.
Yeah, right.
So we fixed this, but now we've got this.
Right.
And so now comes the need, and they said, well, we can't go back to level 2.
Right.
We can't go back to level 3. What do we have today?
Gotcha.
And then the inventions come, and
That's
hey,
awesome.
yeah, we had a Hamburg wheel tracker. Let's bring it online.
Right.
This thing at Fuji's got, and the stuff that's happening at Mod's got over at University of Illinois.
Right.
Let's bring it online. In Lue, Mohammed, all these different
And
things.
never mind that the people that are actually paying for it, the taxpayers, right? They see the cracking. It is an obvious thing when you go down the road and the top part of your road is falling off, right? So I'm sure from the traveling public themselves, there was a big push to say, hey, why are these roads cracked so quickly after they're laid down, maybe 5-7 years? So getting that out there, I think, was really important for the industry as well.
Well, with all this crack talk, you guys have opened up a crack for me to pop in here.
There you go.
And ask a pretty simple question, but I think it's very important. Obviously, we all go to conferences. Obviously, we're out in the industry. We're talking to our customers.
Right.
And the biggest thing right now everybody's talking about is balanced mix design, BMD. How long, or what do you think it's going to take for 75% or in that range of acceptance nationwide?
Okay, a quote from a famous movie is forever.
Sandlot.
Sandlot. It's going to, if I said 10 years, I think that's optimistic. When you look at Superpave, it launched in 1993. By 2003, most of the folks had it out there, looking pretty good. You also had a big federal push behind it. States were including gyratories in bids for contractors, so there was reasons that got implemented quicker. BMD is going to be a little bit more on what states want to do. You're going to have some states that's going to jump out and lead. Some states, Texas, for instance, they were already doing it when it wasn't cool. Colorado was doing it. California's doing it when it's not cool. But now you've got other states coming online, so they want it. Some folks want to research it. Other folks want to watch what other states do, and some folks are just going to jump in over their head. But I think for most of us to have it, there'll be some form in place by the majority of the states from the time we started doing 2017, maybe 2027.
Right. And would you say that if somebody's jumping in, would you say the water's kind of warm, or do you think it's pretty cold still?
It's getting warmer. It's getting warmer. Yeah.
Yeah. The amount of research that's been done with balanced mix design now is hitting that tipping point, right? Where there's enough research out there that if a state does want to get into it, well, there's all the equipment manufacturers out there. There's all the research that people have done at the university level, even at the state level, and even contractors now are getting the equipment just to see, hey, how my mix is going to perform. And I think for them, that's really important. So they know they're not jumping into something that is going to be left behind. I think that's the number one thing that I've heard is we don't want to go into something and then all of a sudden they decide to go another way. But I think balanced mix design is here to stay. Would you agree? It's
here to stay. And what a lot of folks don't understand, if you're a small entity, a city, you can change specs. You're working with a handful of contractors.
Right.
If you're a state agency, you make very slow changes because your specs affect a whole traveling public in that state.
Of course, yeah.
And lots of contractors, and there's a lot of legal that goes into it. Yeah. So you have to have fair bid opportunities. So that's why some states most states are slower to do it than others. And then other states, there's got to be incentives and all these things.
Right.
But it takes a little while.
Yeah. No, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things you've been a person that has seen it all, right? You've been here in the industry for a very long time.
You're calling me old, Murray.
Well, hey, listen, you threw out 1969. I'll just have you put that.
You did throw a date on it.
Threw it out.
You timed it. So, but you've been around for a while, and you've seen the introduction of Superpave, like we just talked about, right? How it came through, when it happened. Now we're moving on to the next elevation, let's say, the next step in our industry, which is balanced mix design. Right. Can you tell me which one was more fun? Which one have you liked more? Which one have you had the more fun challenges? There's always going to be a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Which one has been more of a challenge?
Wow. Never been asked that question. That's a good one.
Well, welcome to the hot mix.
Welcome to the hot mix. Yeah, love it, right? So Superpave was hard.
Yeah.
Superpave was hard. You had states that had Veeam compactors.
Yeah.
You had states that had Marshall.
Yeah.
They had manual Marshall. You had the automatic Marshall. There's so many things going on. So that was a lot of work. There was also some issues with equipment. Everybody had to line up. So that was a lot of work. We didn't have all the data gathering systems we have today. So Superpave was a lot of work. It was needed. And I just got to ride on the coattails of a lot of great guys. So I came in and got to see it. BMD is fun.
It's fun, yeah.
BMD's fun, yeah. Because
I'd agree. Yeah.
You see a contractor look at something. I didn't know my mix did that, and now they're looking at things through new glasses.
Yeah. And the thing about BMD that I think is really cool from my perspective is the test. You can actually see them doing something like the Hamburg. It's a cool machine. The Hamburg. You got it in water. You elevate the temperature, you see the wheel and the rutting happening, so you can kind of really judge it visually. I mean, you're getting the data, but you also can judge it visually. Same thing for the tensile brake with the Ideal CT and the iFit and all that. So I think those tests are a little bit more eye-pleasing, right? And you kind of get a little more out of them. So yeah, that's good.
Well, and like we think we have a lot of mixes that rut. They actually strip is what happened. The aggregates come off them, but I love mixes to pass, but I have to say, as
problem solver.
It's being a problem
engineer.
It's sort of fun to watch stuff break in a lab.
Yeah. And then try to figure out what's going on with it.
Figure out what's going on.
Use some of those equations.
Yeah. Oh, I love equations.
Yes. Let's bring this back to the great state of Kentucky real quick.
Oh, I like this. Where are we going? Where are we going now?
Let's dive deep here.
All right, here we go.
And let's bring it back to the Batt Lab. Let's bring it back to where it all started for you with your new endeavor. And let's talk about when was it in your journey that you were like, you know what? it's time for me to go out on my own and do my own thing? I want to know.
Got it. 2017.
Oh, red letter date.
Red letter date.
It's a date night.
I had left Asphalt Institute. I'm pretty comfortable as a consulting engineer, so that's where that journey began.
Okay.
But then in 2019, I'm realizing I'm doing all this product development work. You know, I get into product development work, I get into forensics, get into helping people commercialize products. We do the basic stuff in the lab, but the core business of helping customers create a new product and helping them commercialize it, I'm starting to send a lot of work out. I needed a laboratory. I found, Zach. Zach is an incredible guy.
Oh, we love Zach. Yeah, he's great.
I've got Eastern Kentucky University that's sitting right there next to me. Great pool of talent. And so I said, I can do this.
Yeah.
You go and you find the people and you talk to them. You do it wise. You ask the folks, tell me what I'm getting involved in. And, Zach comes on over, and in September of 19, we jumped in this building, and by January 2020, by the way, bad business plan to start at something in COVID.
Yes, that was not, your timing was a little off there.
Timing's off. But once we got it going, here we go. We have Batt Lab, and if you ever want to come, Batt lights up. If you ever want to come, I will tell you the secret entrance.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The nice thing about the Batt Lab is you've been able to gather some great people there, right? And you heading that up with all the other work you have done, I think has brought you the credibility for people to know, hey, we can take on a lot of challenges. And I think that's awesome of what Phil has put together out there. He is doing BMD. He is doing cutting edge research. He is doing, we were talking a little bit before the show, right, Anthony? And it was awesome to see him say, hey, this is my vision for the Batt Lab. Yeah. And this is where we're going. And his vision is big. And I think people that want expert advice from literally a living legend.
Yeah.
Go to the Batt Lab, please. Contact Phil. And the nice thing about Phil is he's the nicest guy. Yeah. Anytime you see him at a conference, walk up to him, say hello. He will tell you anything you want to know about asphalt and do it in a way that's understandable.
And he'll do it in a way that you'll get to a point where you're just kind of like, yeah.
Glaze over.
Yeah. I gotcha. Well, I will say from my experience, I came into this industry with not a whole lot of technical background. I used to see Phil at shows. He was always up on stage doing presentations. And I'm like, man, I wish I get a chance to talk to that guy.
If I could download 10% of his brain, I'd be good.
And then, you see him walking around, and all the major researchers are walking around with him. And you're like trying to get in there, like, oh, no, I can't do it. I'm so nervous. I'm shaking. And then finally, you break that ice with him, and you get in there, you ask him questions, and he breaks it down to a level where you learn. Great guy. Super happy to have him. And
so, Phil, just getting back to the Batt Lab, I love the name, by the way. I remember when you were starting it and you were trying to decide what names and what logos, and you went with Batt Lab, which is an awesome, we have an awesome mix of Batman and everything like that together with the lab, which is great. But at the core of your business, what is it that you guys do exceptionally well? I mean, you do a lot of things, but what is it that at the core of your business that if someone said, hey, I need to do this, let me call Phil?
Yeah, and because you put these add-ons on to help with to help fill in the gaps in the company, but the core business that we get into is commercialization, and product research. As a product development engineer, where I was at Coke Materials, we had a lot of this internally that we would work on. We develop products, we test them over 2 or 3 years. We did little secret trials. That's what companies do. And you put down secret trials in different places. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? You get nervous. You see a truck go up. You never put this material down before. What's going to happen when it comes out?
Absolutely.
And what's going to happen when the roller hits it? Yeah. And so now you go to a small company. They don't have the lab.
Right.
They don't have the resources. So I help companies develop the materials wherever they need help. I help them match it to a contractor. Let's go get it down. And then I do the follow-up all the way. Let's watch it over the next 2, 3, 4 years and which DOTs you want to go to. So that's why my tagline's lab to pavement, farm to table,
right?
Lab to pavement.
That's right.
That's great. This is great tagline. And you're doing a lot of good work there for the industry as well. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
You often see Phil on social media and at conferences supporting a really great organization, which is Women of Asphalt, right? Oh. You're big.
I've got my pink jacket.
Yeah. He has a jacket to prove it. If you know Women of Asphalt, I highly suggest you look it up if you're new to the industry and wondering what that's about. But basically, they support women in our industry, right? And they get together to have meetings on how they can help the industry, what they can do to be better and make the industry better. And the group has really taken off over the last probably 4 or 5 years. They've been around. So my question to you is, what's your favorite color?
Oh, favorite color. After you lead with women of asphalt. So
I'm just saying. What's your favorite color?
Yeah. I'm supposed to say pink.
Yes, of course you are.
That's right.
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, I bleed blue, man.
Okay, pink, but bleed blue.
Yeah, and little fun fact: if you look at the Batt Lab colors, it is the color palette of University of Kentucky.
That is awesome. And obviously
saying.
that was a very leading question.
Yeah,
it was for fun, but.
Women of Asphalt's awesome.
Yeah, can you just tell us a little bit about Women of Asphalt and what you're doing with them? Because I think that's really important for people to know about.
Yeah, when it first came out, I saw it and it gave the ladies in the industry a way to meet and made it congregate, because you typically think, well, what ladies are in the industry,
right?
And you look around, but you forget all the administrative support. You forget the accounting. You forget the HR.
Absolutely,
every bit of this. Yeah, and absolutely, you have the folks running rollers. You have flaggers. But in my lab alone, I've got 2 ladies that work the binder lab, incredibly detail focused, awesome. And Callie Boggs, for instance, is a member of Women of Asphalt. I'm a member of Women of Asphalt. Zach's a member. Jackson Burkhart, one of my mixed technologists, member of Women of Asphalt. And it's just a way to support that industry. And it really lit up to me. I've got a son and a daughter, and I remember coming in the '90s and you seeing that workplace that wasn't as favorable for women, and I never wanted my daughter to have to ever go through any of that the U.S. came out of from years ago, right? And so we've got a great friendly environment. And somebody said, especially in the asphalt industry, in what we're in, it's very welcoming to young ladies and women of all ages in the hot mix.
I can say that at all the conferences, and I'm a big conference guy, Women of Asphalt have had a great presence, and they have made it so much fun. All of the events that they put on, all of the progressive things that they're doing just to make this industry a better place, really. It's been awesome. So it's great to hear your perspective, obviously being a member, everybody kind of coming together and making this industry such a great place to work. Phil, it has been a pleasure.
Awesome, yes.
Thank you so much for coming on and visiting with us. Seriously,
I loved it.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, Phil,
I got to make one plug, guys, coming up.
Yep, absolutely. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. So first off, let me say thank you for companies like InstroTek that helps companies like me outfit a whole laboratory. Yeah. From the pans to the big equipment and all the way to my big art compactor.
Yes.
But want to make a plug. This year, AAPT, Association of Asphalt Paving Technologists, which is a core group for our learning and implementation of specs, is having their 100th. This is our centennial meeting.
That's
huge. It's going to be in
That's
Chicago, September 9, 10, 11, 12.
Wow. Okay.
Come be a part of it.
Centennial is always big. I can't believe it's been around that long, but that's amazing. Yeah. And you said it's in what city?
It's in Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah, the Lowe's Hotel.
And I'm sure you're going to have huge venue and beautiful
big event. We're doing a big aquarium event that's included in it. So anybody who comes gets to go to the Shed Aquarium up there.
Nice. We'll put the dates up for everybody up there so you guys can see exactly when it is if you want to attend. But that is great. That's phenomenal.
If you're going to attend one, this would probably be the one to attend, right?
This is the one to attend. I mean, AAPT is older than Batman.
Yeah. And exhibitors or no exhibitors?
Exhibitors this year.
Oh, look at
sponsorship.
We like the conferences.
So and if you can consider sponsoring, that's a
huge
great one because it goes to, we have scholarships, we have reserve funds to keep organizations like this moving and helping to give us a place to share the technology.
That's amazing.
Well, thanks again so much for everything. I mean, obviously everybody can see the wealth of knowledge and everything that's coming on the horizon. Phil Blankenship with us here at the Hot Mix.
Man, I never thought it'd happen, but it happened.
It's 100 years for AAPT, but this is a big day for the Hot Mix. Mark it down, everybody. Thank you again so much for coming. Awesome. Just remember one thing, everybody out there. Keep it hot.
Keep it real.
And keep it real hot.